Become her. Be your future self. Act as if. This is an idea that has been floating around for especially the last few years. And for a while, it feels really empowering because it gives you something to move toward. A version of you that feels calm, that feels put together, that feels successful, that feels different. But then something happens. You're still in the same life, feeling the same way, carrying the same internal pressure, and now you're wondering, why isn't this working for me? If you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, you're visualizing, you're thinking differently, you're trying to step into a new version of yourself, but nothing is actually shifting. I want to talk to you about why this actually happens, because it's not that you're doing anything wrong, and it's not that you're not capable of becoming the woman that you want to be. It's that there's a piece of this conversation that no one is really explaining clearly. The whole idea of becoming her didn't just show up out of nowhere. It's really an evolution of a few different things. There was the that girl trend a few years ago where women were really optimizing their routines, their habits, their lifestyles. Then there were the older personal development ideas like begin with the end in mind. And then the manifestation teachers. Things like live in the end, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and act as if it's already yours started to really become more mainstream, especially in the last 3 to 5 years. And then over time, all of that merged into one thing, into one message. Be the version of yourself who already has it. And on the surface, it makes a lot of sense. Because when your life doesn't really feel the way you want it to, of course you want to believe you can change it. Of course you want to believe that you can become someone new, someone completely different. Someone who is calm, someone who is grounded, someone who is financially secure, in a great relationship, not someone who is constantly feeling like they have to hold everything together. And for a high-functioning woman especially, that version of you feels incredibly compelling. But here's where it starts to fall apart. You try to think like her, try to act like her, make choices and decisions like her, and yet you're still waking up in the same life, feeling the same pressure, carrying the same internal tension. And then over time, instead of feeling closer to her, you start to feel further from her. And this is where it gets really subtle, because now it's not just frustrating. It starts to feel like maybe I'm the problem. Like if you were doing it differently, believing harder, maybe if you were applying things correctly, things would finally change. All right, so I've been through this myself. I've had the same or similar experience trying to visualize the life that I wanted, trying to step into a more successful version of me, wanting, meaningful work, financial stability, a healthy relationship. And when nothing really shifted, I didn't question the method. I questioned myself. And I know a lot of women are quietly doing the same. But here's what I've come to really understand. The issue isn't that you don't know who you want to become. And it's not that you're not trying. It's that most of the advice that you get skips over one critical piece: the state your body is in while you're trying to change. You can't think your way into a new life that your body doesn't feel safe enough to live in. Now, you might have heard this before, that your body doesn't know the difference between what's real and what is imagined. Or that your mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is just imagined. And there is some truth to that. Your body can respond to thoughts. It can respond to the anticipation. But here is what really often gets missed. Your body doesn't just respond to what you can see in your mind. It responds to what feels familiar, believable, and safe. So if the version of your life you're trying to step into feels too far from what your system knows, it won't settle there. It will resist it. And this is especially true for us high-functioning women, because a lot of women are living in a state of constant internal bracing, always on, always holding everything together, always, managing something or someone. So when you try to become her, what you're often doing is performing a new identity on top of an already pressured system. And that doesn't create change. It creates exhaustion and burnout. The version of you that you're trying to become, it's not a completely different person. It's you. It's you without the constant internal pressure. So instead of saying to yourself, how do I become her? Maybe ask yourself this question instead. What would need to feel different inside my own body for me to experience even a small part of her right now? I'll say that one more time. What would need to feel different inside my body for me to experience even a small part of her right now? And this is where real change starts, not with a full transformation, but with this small shift. Noticing where you're still bracing, softening it even slightly, creating moments where you're not holding everything together. Because what your body can feel safely, it can begin to hold consistently. You don't become the woman you want to be by leaving yourself behind. You become her when your body finally feels safe enough to let her exist. And if you've been trying to think your way into a different life and it hasn't been working, it doesn't mean you've failed. It means that there's a deeper layer that hasn't been addressed yet. And that's the work. If this resonates with you, this is exactly the work I do, helping women move out of constant internal bracing and into a state of calm steadiness they can actually live from.